Hello students, welcome to the discussion of some of the MCQs on the tumors in children. I have tried to frame some of the questions regarding the tumors in children. First question says, 2-year-old boy has reported with history of weight loss and lethargy. Mother complains he has difficulty in walking. There is something difficulty in walking and also complains of pain in abdomen. On examination of abdomen, there is an abdominal mass present. Which of the following investigations will be useful in making the diagnosis? Now, when considering the abdominal mass in a child and considering the tumors particularly, you start thinking of the neuroblastoma, you start thinking of Wilms tumor, or particularly it can be hepatoblastoma also, which can be seen in the abdomen. Right. Now, if I consider rule out one by one, serum alpha fetoprotein and serum beta HCG, they are the markers of hepatoblastoma, but hepatoblastoma is mostly asymptomatic. That is mostly asymptomatic. Then here given is mother complains of difficulty in walking. This can be something related to the metastasis to the bone, which is causing difficulty in walking, and in hepatoblastoma there is no metastasis to the bone, so this rules out A and B. Then coming to the last choice, serum renin level. If renin level would have increased, there should be hypertension at least, particularly, which should be present, or this should be something related to the aldosterone producing tumor. Maybe we consider like this, there is something which is causing the increased serum renin level, but there is nothing that a tumor of adrenal medulla, we are saying like this, to suggest that no hypertension is being given. So this rules out the serum renin level also. Right. Now you might say that even the hypertension is not given, why we are going for the urinary catecholamine level? We should choose out of the two, one, C or D. There they have given is difficulty in walking and abdominal mass. Now the neuroblastoma is the most common tumor which is associated with bony metastasis in children. That is associated with bony metastasis in children. And if there is bony metastasis, there can be difficulty in walking, which is typically given the name as the Hutchinson syndrome. Hutchinson syndrome. Hutchinson teeth, Hutchinson triad is congenital syphilis. Hutchinson syndrome is seen in neuroblastoma, severe joint pain and limping. That is difficulty in walking because of bony metastasis. So that is basically we pick up the points, and most likely our diagnosis is neuroblastoma, which can be confirmed by the urinary catecholamine level. Question number 2. 4-year-old girl is brought to the OPD by her parents with complaints of blood in her urine. So that means there is a so-called history of hematuria. There is history of abdominal pain during the past 2 months and is otherwise well. Only abdominal pain, no history of any infection. There is complaint of a abdominal pain. What we get is, on physical examination, the abdomen is slightly distended and mass is palpable in the right upper quadrant. So there is a abdominal mass. Which of the following will be helpful in diagnosis? Going one by one. Anti-streptolysin O titer. Now this is required for PSGN, and the PSGN either follows pharyngitis, either follows pyoderma. Nothing is something given which is suggestive of pharyngitis or pyoderma, because in pharyngitis latent period 1 to 2 weeks and in the pyoderma latent period 3 to 6 weeks, but they have given here history of the past 2 months, nothing to suggest pyoderma or nothing to suggest is the pharyngitis. Urine for RBC count. Now urine for RBC count will tell you about hematuria is there, right? Because hematuria means more than 5 RBC per microliter of urine, and significant means more than 50 RBC per microliter of urine. But this will tell you about the hematuria. This will not basically help you in pointing towards the diagnosis. So these both are particularly not there, right? Serum immunoglobulin A level. In IG nephropathy, initially there is particularly respiratory tract infection or gastrointestinal infection, and there is increase in IgA level, which is deposited in the mesangium, and this presents with hematuria. So it still does not explain the abdominal mass. So this particularly rules out, and moreover in IgA nephropathy, serum IgA is only increased in 15% of the patients. Even IgA levels are not done in the IgA nephropathy. So what is the choice now left is, looking at this triad, this might be a case of the Wilms tumor. So what I need to do is, I should go for the ultrasonography abdomen. That will tell me about two things: whether it is a solid or a cystic mass, and second, it will tell me about the intrarenal origin of the mass. It will tell me about the intrarenal origin of the mass. So out of the choices given, most likely we should go for the USG abdomen for to differentiate between solid and the cystic mass, and to rule out the intrarenal origin of the tumor. Question number 3, a 6-year-old girl with history of developmental regression, right? She is very unsteady on her feet. Very unsteady on her feet means the examiner is giving a point towards the ataxia. Has no obvious visual problems. There is no history of any febrile illness, most likely diagnosis. I get the question and I do not know what exactly is the answer here, right? Let us see. No history of fever, cerebral abscess becomes unlikely. Cortical astrocytoma. Whenever you say cortex is involved, mostly there should be presence of seizures. So here there is no history of seizures being given, and moreover astrocytoma arises from cerebral hemispheres, cortical, cerebral hemispheres, and cerebral hemisphere do not explain the ataxia. So this is also highly unlikely. Craniopharyngioma. Craniopharyngioma arises from the anterior pituitary, that is the Rathke's pouch, and this is usually associated with the visual problems. That is associated with the visual problems. Given no visual problem, this rules out, and moreover this is not the age of the craniopharyngioma. So it is most likely the medulloblastoma, which arises from the cerebellum, and that can very well explain the ataxia part. So just I have ruled out, and I think most likely the case it is of medulloblastoma. Question number 4. 5-year-old boy has history of becoming very tired. On examination, he is pale. Petechial rash on his arms and legs and hepatosplenomegaly. Full blood count shows low hemoglobin and platelet count. That means examiner here has given you certain clues. There is anemia which is present. There is thrombocytopenia which is present, which is causing the rash, petechial rash. There is hepatosplenomegaly which is present. Right. Now you have to rule out what exactly this could be the cause, and the age given is 5 years of age. And if we start thinking regarding the tumor point of view, this can be the classical presentation of the acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Whenever you get the word leukemia, you mostly think that it involves the bone marrow. It involves the bone marrow. And in the bone marrow, just for simplicity, remember a stem cell, and this stem cell is like this, a lymphoid cell and a myeloid cell. Lymphoid cell particularly means B cell, T cell, natural killer cell. Myeloid cell typically means here there is RBC, myeloid cell, there is platelets, there is granulocytes. Just for simplicity I am writing just to remember. Now when the word says acute lymphoblastic leukemia, leukemia bone marrow, lymphoblastic means lymphoid cells are increased. So if these lymphoid cells are increased, what will happen to myeloid cells? The myeloid cells will decrease. There will be decrease in RBC, anemia, decrease in platelets, thrombocytopenia, decrease in granulocyte, neutropenia. So this is a classical presentation you get, particularly which is seen in the child. So in the child, this can be a case of acute lymphoblastic leukemia presenting with the features of anemia, thrombocytopenia, neutropenia and hepatosplenomegaly. Now how to diagnose ALL? I think of doing the prothrombin time and activated partial thromboplastin time, but that is suggestive of a coagulation disorder. So this is not the right choice. Chromosomal studies for the presence of translocation 922, although Philadelphia chromosome can be present in a case of ALL, this is of prognostic significance. Presence of Philadelphia chromosome in a ALL indicates bad prognosis, so not helpful in confirming the diagnosis, right? Bone scan to detect bony metastasis, Unlikely, particularly bony metastasis is not a feature of ALL, so we should go for the bone marrow aspirate. That will be helpful in the diagnosis. Question number 5. Female infant was born term delivery. Birth weight was 4200 grams. See, this is particularly macrosomic child. Macrosomic child, and on examination, omphalocele was seen. Which of the following parameters require monitoring for the initial 72 hours in the neonatal period? Now just look here what we mean to say. This is most likely a case of Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome, which you particularly associate with the Wilms tumor, because there is a large size baby with omphalocele. And in a particular case of Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome, there is pancreatic cell hyperplasia. And if there is a pancreatic cell hyperplasia, there is increased amount of insulin. So if there is an increased amount of insulin, you need to monitor is the blood glucose level. You need to monitor is the blood glucose level. Just for the academic interest, what are the changes you find in the Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome? There is large kidneys with renal medullary dysplasia. There is pancreatic hyperplasia, including the excess of islets. There is fetal adrenocortical cytomegaly, which is considered pathognomic feature, and there is pituitary hyperplasia. So out of the choices being given, blood glucose is the right answer. Thanks.